Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Mega Driving Club, a series all about driving games published by Sega or released on Sega consoles. In this episode we're looking at SEGA Rally Championship, a port of the game for Game Boy Advance. This is quite impressive actually. What I really like about this is it actually is a 3D rendered racing game. There are many different types of racing game on the GBA. You get the old school sort of raster graphic style. You can obviously get 3D rendered like this, and you also get a lot of Mode 7-esque looking races on the old GBA. But this is a complete full 3D one. Well, I say full 3D, the tracks are rendered in full 3D. And you'll notice as well, they look kind of pixelated. What they've done to make this game run, you know, at a nice clip, is they've lowered the resolution of the 3D graphics. Hence why you get these big sort of chunky, pixelated sort of look to the backgrounds. It's not the nicest way of doing things, but it does at least, you know, make things run nice. And, you know, this is actually a very playable game. Very nice, very snappy, very fast. Very much like the original Sega Rally. So I do enjoy the way this plays. It's just that visually it's a little bit of a mishmash, because the actual objects themselves are sprites. And as you can see via this video, you'll notice that the sprites are in a higher resolution than the 3D backgrounds, or the actual race circuit itself. And it makes there's a bit of a clash of styles there, and I'm not too sure if I think that works too well, unfortunately. Luckily, as you're playing the game, it's not particularly distracting. I think it looks fine. When you're playing and you're focusing on what you're doing, you don't really notice it too much. It's quite a nice thing to play, like I say. But yeah, there is obviously a clash of styles there. The thing that's quite noticeable, that kind of breaks you out of it a little bit, is that the sprite objects are actually placed on the foreground of the gameplay. So that means if you come around corners and it renders a sprite, they'll sort of show through objects when they shouldn't. Like for instance, if you went around this corner and there was a tree on the other side, you'd be able to see the tree prior to going around the corner because it would be showing through, because all the sprites are rendered on the foreground when they should probably be rendered on the actual, you know, in the 3D environment instead of, you know, just directly on the foreground. So that's a little bit of a shame. That's one of the few things that I think is a little bit ugly about this. But yeah, it doesn't happen too often, because what with this being a racing game, everything is always coming towards you, so you don't often notice it too much. But there's a section in particular where you're driving through buildings, quite high buildings on either side of the track, and you do notice that sort of trees are clipping through the environment when they shouldn't be. But otherwise, this is a very enjoyable arcade racer. They've included some additional features. There's lots more cars than there are over the original game, and you can unlock more by unlocking money by playing through the championship mode. You can unlock additional cups through this sort of like shop. You can unlock high resolution artwork. Well, I say high resolution artwork, it's a full resolution artwork because obviously the GBA screen is particularly high resolution, so it can only really fit you know, a certain amount of pixels, and then there's not many. I can't remember what the actual pixel depth is on a GBA, but it ain't much. But otherwise, a pretty solid arcade racer, certainly worth checking out if you like this sort of thing. Just don't expect to be wowed by some of the most advanced 3D graphics on this system, because there are other racers that do it better. It's just this one isn't particularly bad. It's pretty competent, but it's certainly not the best.